The wind that morning felt like it had something personal against every living soul on base, dragging wild sheets of powder snow across the flight line, pulling at boots, try to erase any sign that people or jets had ever been near one of those bone-deep colds, the kind that burns through gloves and makes your breath billow out in front of your face like smoke. I was standing out there beside the last, but one Super Hornet on the edge of the pad, boots half buried in snow-packed runoff, flight suit zipped up to my chin, cuffs stiff as cardboard. It was that cold. My gloves hung from my belt, fingers curled up like they decided they were done for the day, catching little flashes of light with each gust. Blonde hair tied back, not a single fly away because there are some days when you just can't afford to give them that satisfaction. Inside the alert trailer, 3 pilots were slouched on the bench, sipping burnt coffee and glancing out the fog window, talking loud because they thought I couldn't hear. "She's still out there?" Captain Marcus Webb elbowed his wingman, Lieutenant Jake Thompson, who peered out at me like I was a statue someone forgot to put away. "That jet's not even fueled," Jake said, and Derek Stone, the guy who laughs at his own jokes, grinned. "They stationed her up here to keep the metal from rusting. Cold storage." The laughter rattled off the walls, didn't even bother to keep their voices down. My name never showed up on the scramble board, not that morning. Not any morning. I didn't get a call sign, no marker on my helmet bag, nothing etched on my locker except the nameplate that had been moved to the back 2 weeks before. That jet I stood Besadino 1 had powered it in almost 2 days. Ice grew along the intakes. Frost dulled the canopy. The ladder was still locked up. Covers hadn't been touched. Not a single airman did a walk around. A few meters behind me, Airman Tyler Brooks stepped out of the tower, parka open, phone up. He snapped a photo, looking like a ghost beside a frozen jet, posted it in the crew chat, caption, "Benchwarmer Barbie frozen at the gate." I never saw the post, never needed to. I didn't adjust a thing. I just kept staring toward the end of the runway, where heat shimmered off the active jets lining up for formation. The wind shifted, flung powder snow on my legs. I blinked, flexed my hand near my gloves. The hangar behind me was all motion and radio noise fuel stats, clearance codes, wind warnings, everyone busy but me. Inside, another captain leaned against the window, pointed my way. She was trying to log time by proximity, and a few laughed, probably waiting for someone to tell her she can come in. They all stayed pink-faced, coffee in hand, names rolling on the board, never mind. Frost built up on my jet's tail, snow filled in the pad, even though it had been cleared that morning. My boots, half buried, my shadow long and sharp. I hadn't spoken to a soul since first light. A group of mechanics was fueling a different jet near the maintenance trailer. Master Sergeant Rodriguez glanced over, ice on his lashes, muttered, "She's waiting for someone to notice her." The other guy shrugged. "That jet's not even on the board." "She's going to lose circulation," Rodriguez said, but I stayed put, didn't move, not when the wind peeled at my collar, not when the alert horn tested for the 3rd time. I stood beside the jet, not leaning, just ready. When the afternoon sun cracked the ridgeline, ice on the canopy haloed the snow, light bending around my shadow. Another name got called inside, but not mine. Someone near the stairs joked, "That one's iced." I didn't flinch, just adjusted my gloves. Sun slipped back behind clouds, the world blue and bitter, but I stayed. What they didn't see. Every night since I arrived, while they slept, I was memorizing every switch, every sequence, every second of startup. Readiness isn't loud. It just acts when the moment comes. My desk in the bunk room was metal, cold, a lamp turning the schematic of the Super Hornet start sequence into dull shadows. I practiced it so many times the plastic was wrinkled, corners curled. Stopwatch in one hand, thumb on a folded paper, the other hand moving through the motions, fuel isolation, APU start, throttle, backup, Aries close, breath slow. I timed myself, 19 seconds flat, over and over till it was muscle memory. No alarms, no TV, just the wind tapping the vent. Gloves tucked under my pillow. Only color was the orange band on my stopwatch and a battered battery tag. After practice, boots on, no socks, laces tight. I'd walk the same route out along the hangar line, snow crunching, passing jets silent and sleeping. I'd stop at mine, circle it, hand on cold metal, breathing out clouds, pressing my palm to the snow by the landing gear. Then I'd walk back, numb fingers back to the schematic for another round. They never understood. My father, Colonel David Roberts, taught me that preparation was the only thing that mattered when the moment comes. There's no time to think, only to act. So every night, I honor that lesson. In the morning, they'd see me again, standing guard, and they'd laugh, dismiss me, but I'd be ready. When the siren hit, it was like metal on glass sharp, splitting the sky. The trailer exploded and a motion coffee dropped, doors slammed, people running. The board lit orange and red, names rolling, still not mine. But I was already moving, boots biting the frost. I didn't jog, didn't signal, just headed for Jet 5. Staff Sergeant Kelly tried to stop me, hold position, you're not on scramble, but I didn't answer. My helmet was still locked up, gloves still at my belt. The other pilots were shouting, scrambling, but my path never changed. Ground crew stared, you're not even on a sheet, but I climbed the ladder, rungs biting into my palm, slid into the seat, sealed the canopy. The cockpit was black and freezing. Breath bloomed and vanished. Someone's in Jet 5. Tower static crackled. Is that even possible? She doesn't have a helmet, someone muttered. Outside, the other jets started up, heat shimmering, but mine was silent till I started the sequence. APU, fuel, throttle, oxygen, the sequence was muscle, not checklist. The APU light flicked amber, then green. The right engine coughed to life, then the left, and snow blasted out from the intakes. Flap check, brake release, taxi, she rolled. Who cleared Jet 5? Tower barked, but I lined up, nose dipped, turbines roared. I was airborne in 19 seconds flat, siren still blaring. They didn't see the months of dismissal, the freezing mornings, the jokes, the benchwarmer texts. They gave me time to prepare. When it counted, I didn't need permission, just the skills they'd ignored. The cockpit was colder than outside, frost crunching under my fingers, but my hands knew every switch. Outside, a crew tech yelled, "She's not even powered!" But then the Super Hornet howled, indicator lights flicked green, snow arced out behind. I didn't fumble. No double checks. Just smooth practice motion. The snow hadn't cleared from the runway, but I didn't need the center line. As I lifted off, someone finally said, "Is she airborne?" At 19 seconds, wheels up. But this wasn't about showing off. I'd watched the radar in unidentified contact, moving fast. While the others suited up, I was already intercepting. From the tower, Major Thompson grabbed the radio, unauthorized aircraft airborne, his hand shaking. 2 blips on the screen, unknown and final line. For the first time, I was where I belonged. Up there, above the broken ridges of sea ice, the sky felt wide, empty, like anything was possible. No targeting overlays, no HUD, just my memory of the map, wind vectors, the way light bounced off the snow. I flew cold, manual, tracking by feel. And then, out of the fog, the contact appeared a black, triangular drone, silent and fast. I stayed behind, matched every turn. Tower kept calling, "Who is airborne?" I replied, voice calm, one visual, confirming identity. The drone climbed, I followed, sunlight hazy through clouds. For 12 minutes, I maintained position, gathering intelligence, confirming it as a Pentagon test drone. When I landed smooth, no drama, there was no applause. A part climbed down, boots landing in fresh snow. Crew watched silent. Inside the tower, someone replayed the footage, 19 seconds from ramp to airborne. Colonel Harrison stood at the back, arms folded. "That's not possible," he said. But there it was. In the briefing room, Colonel Harrison showed the radar tracks. The footage announced that my launch time had broken every record on base. He listed the names of those who'd mocked or ignored method-face remedial training. My call sign was approved, Frostbite. The irony landed with the weight of every joke they'd made. I stood and spoke, voice steady. I didn't launch without authorization. I launched because it was the right thing to do. I didn't ask for special treatment, just a chance to serve. When that chance came, I was ready, not because someone believed in me, but because I believed in myself. The room was silent. Harrison nodded, The Pentagon reviewers noting that in 15 years, they'd never seen such mastery under pressure. 6 months later, the wind still howled across the flight line, but now it carried a different energy. I was Alpha Squadron's lead, Frostbite, mentoring new pilots, the story of that cold launch now legend. Brooks' mocking photo? It hung in the commander's office captioned, "Excellence doesn't announce itself. It performs." Even Captain Webb, after remedial training, greeted me with respect. I told the new pilots, preparation isn't about being seen. It's about being ready when it counts. As I took off that morning, sun breaking the horizon, I thought of everyone out there who's been overlooked or dismissed. You know what? Readiness doesn't need permission. It doesn't need applause. Sometimes the quietest person in the cold is the one most ready to soar. So, what about you? Have you ever felt dismissed, doubted, or ignored? Where do you stand on what real readiness looks like? Does it need permission, or is it something you just do? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts below.